then I was going to be a veterinarian, and ended up going to Kansas City, and I was in medical technology, an intern there, worked in the hospital for a while. Didn't like it inside. A.C. Tillman passed away, and they asked me to come back and help get the farm kind of back together, and so I did that, and been there ever since. Got 4 kids, 3 sons and a daughter, and here I am.
There you go. Excellent. Ron.
Well, I'm in this class with Stephen, Larry, Joe, and Donnie. And I was in the Air Force when I got out in '71 and started farming. And then I went to work, didn't have enough to do, so I went to work at Cargill in Dodge City for 22 years, and I just quit about 2 years ago.
Really, yes.
Just helping my son now a little bit, farming, and
Back to farm.
that's about it.
Good, good. Donnie, you want to?
Sure.
You want me to hold the camera?
No. Steve.
Damn it, I was so close.
I probably lived more places than anybody did. After Fort Hays State, I moved to San Jose, California, then to Cupertino, California, then to Sunnyvale, California, to Ventura, California, Casper, Wyoming, Anchorage, Alaska, back to Denver, the first time, and then to Los Angeles, then back to Denver, then back to Los Angeles. And it was always my plan, even in college, to quit midlife and become an artist, move to Santa Fe and paint. So I actually did that, and so I've lived in Santa Fe ever since, and that's what I
And
do.
you have your studio and.
Well, yeah, I have a studio, and I sell paintings in galleries, and teach painting classes all over the western part of the United States mainly, but eastern also. And also do some computer programming still.
Cool.
So that's it.
That's it. Larry, you're up next.
Now I know why you didn't get your 40th birthday card, because you moved it.
Yeah.
Spend it.
Larry's up. Gail, I didn't get your card either.
You moved too. You.
That's about it.
I don't think so. Let's hear it.
I like that.
Well, I went to college and got into music, and then got involved with opera. So started singing opera, and then decided I wanted to teach instead of making a total career with that. So I taught in South Carolina, and then at the University of Alabama, and then for the past 37 years at Florida State University. So that's where I've been, singing as much as I can, teaching as much as I can. 3 daughters, 1 in Africa, 1 in Florida, and 1 in Virginia. And love to come here and see my Fowler folk. That's
And
it.
didn't you play with a lot of really neat people in a band in high school?
Yeah, I
Here we go. Boy, if you got the camera, you got the power.
did. It was a cover band that was Larry and the Dihedrals. And
I object.
no, there was a band that Ed Young was in, Don Finkeldye, Rob Eaton, who's not here, Steve Gerber, who's not here, Jerry Dow is not here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And me. And we tried our best to be good. We tried.
You were good.
We practiced a lot, so that helped. So yeah, moving on, Don.
We're done, Don.
Sandy's up.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, graduated from high school. Mike and I got married in '67. and his school started in September. So we did a quick little wedding trip to Wichita with these two. And because they were married
4 days.
4 days before we were.
Right.
So, and we picked up a bunch of stuff in Wichita, and he went to school. He was finishing his senior year in college. So we dumped a lot of stuff off, and we'd already had an apartment picked out and paid for, and left the stuff there. Then we came home, moved up some more stuff, went back to school, and he graduated in June of '68, got his college diploma and his draft notice the same day.
Oh, no.
Wow, lucky.
So and his dad had a coronary heart attack on Memorial Weekend. So Mike got a 3-month farm deferment to put out the wheat crop and other crops that go during the winter. And then he was inducted August the 29th. Left on a bus in Meade, went to Amarillo, spent 8 weeks in El Paso, and then he got a 2-week furlough to come home, and then he was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. And he came down on levee for Vietnam once, but the commander in his platoon called the Pentagon and said, hey, we're so short-handed on base of personnel clerk, and that's what he was. But they were drafting him in his soil analysis that he graduated from in basic training. So his friend got on the phone and said, hey, we can't let him go, you can't have him. So thank the good Lord, he did not have to go. He still had to go out and do basic on the grounds out at Fort Hood, but I was without him for 2 weeks there. So, and then later on, 3 months before we were ETS'd, we had a little girl, and her name was Melissa. And she lives in Wichita with her husband Walt and her little 11-year-old son, which they adopted. They couldn't have any children. So she works for the school administration at 443 in Wichita. She has all the government free and reduced meals and whatever through the state of Kansas for Wichita School District. And then let's see, came home and had a farm. We took over Mike's dad's farm, and Shannon came along in 1975, and Josh came along in 1988.
Yep, time moves.
I need to calculate.
I'll tell you what, when you can't cut wheat, don't send your girls to the swimming pool. So anyway. So anyway, from there we've had, Shannon has 4 children. She has, her oldest son is graduating from high school. And then she's got a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And Josh, and Shannon has a hearing aid business in Liberty, Missouri. And Josh came in 1988. He graduated from high school, and then he went to Central Christian College in McPherson and studied music. That's what he wanted to do. He played the bass guitar all through high school.
Yay.
So he was in the big band. So anyway, after he graduated from there, then in the meantime, he had met Ashley when he was in high school. They went to the Teens of Christ over at Meade, and they went together 4 years. She still had to finish high school. He went to McPherson, graduated from there, and he now is the head production manager and rental manager of Kent Audio Visual Sound System. He sets up big screens with TV coming off and these big micro panels that have all these lights that shoot and go everywhere. And he does a lot of business with all the airline industries and the Marriotts and Intrust Bank Arena and big places like that. He does all the sound systems and things for them. And we just found out yesterday we're going to be grandma and grandpa again.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
Josh and Ashley are going to have a baby in July. So,
Wow.
That up to date?
that's about this.
Awesome.
Well, from Fowler, I went to Sterling College for a couple of years, played basketball there. decided that I wanted to do something different. So anyway, I ended up coaching there for a while. And then I met my wife to be at that point, and decided I couldn't make it on coaching. So eventually we ended up out in Fowler and moved out there. Had 4 kids along the way. Yep. I think that was the final. Yeah, but anyway, ended up in the bank there and been there for most of that time since. And really happy. Had a good wife and good kids. And
Great.
life's good.
All right. Ed, you're up.
Am I up?
You're up.
Where do we need to start? Only thing I remember is being in the ladies' locker room in Meade, Kansas, for a basketball game.
Yeah, I was there.
It reminded me, I was being thrown up against the wall saying, come on, step it up, we gotta win this game.
That's exactly right.
And evidently we did, because I can't remember. Anyway, it's nice to be here. I know I started out at least 2 or 3 weeks ago from California, making the trek to my 49th anniversary reunion here in Fowler, Kansas. And through snow, sleet, rain, Denver, Colorado, Wichita, Kansas, down Highway 54, we're here at Sharon's lovely hunting lodge in where I remember going 40 years ago to your sister Carol. Carol, I can't believe you're not here. We talked earlier. Anyway, a lot of time has passed. From Fowler to Fringe University playing basketball to working for the DA, moving to Denver, Colorado, opening up a store named The Body Shop, which you might see at airports, sold that, moving in the brokerage business in Colorado, selling, and moving to Pebble Beach, California about 18 years ago, then San Diego, keeping Denver, and making a full circle, being back here with my classmates and the older guys like and it's nice to know that some things never change, although I remember you having a little more of the sideburn thing. But life is good. It's great to see you all, and thank you, Sharon.
Oh, my pleasure.
And it's Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, and it's good to be here. So,
Okay. Bill, you're up.
Oh, goody. Well, after high school, when I was originally graduating, I was going to be a mechanic. And about the time I was supposed to go there and go to school, I said, I don't want to be a mechanic. So then I went to Emporia for about 2 years, and then I transferred to the University of Idaho, where I graduated in wildlife and forestry. And eventually started working for the Bureau of Land Management in Redding, California. And worked there until 78 as a forester, before which my wife and I got married there. I met her at Lutheran Church there where I attended, and we got married. And 6 months after we got married, I went to a BLM sponsored school down in Phoenix, where I was for 4.5 months, going through the land school there, at which after time we moved to Newcastle, Wyoming for 2 years, BLM. And then after that, I moved back to Ukiah, California, and we've been there ever since. And I worked for BLM for 40 years, and we have 2 children, one daughter who's 35, lives in Las Vegas, and my son and his wife and our grandson, they live there in Ukiah with us. And my wife's just retired this year, and we've been doing quite a bit of traveling, so that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Sue? You're up. Yes.
I got out of high school and went to Wichita to business college, and where I met my husband. And then my husband. He was in the Air Force. He had just joined, and he went to Little Rock, and I got laid off from my job they're in Wichita, so I went down there. My folks didn't really care for that idea, but I went down in November, and in April we got married and had 2 children down there. And when my son was 6 weeks old, we headed for California. We lived there for 6 months, and then we came back to Wichita, and he went overseas to Vietnam and Thailand, or Thailand and then Vietnam. Came back, and we were supposed to go to Altus. We didn't, on the way, or shortly before he came home, he wrote me and said, "Why not, why not?" And it wasn't long before we was up at Minot for a year. Short year, long year. But anyway, then we came back to Wichita and was there for 8 years while he was still in the Air Force. He retired. Well, after Wichita, we went to New York, Plattsburgh, and was there for 5 years. Came back to Wichita, where he retired from the Air Force and went to work for Boeing. And in between times, I done some paraprofessional in Wichita, and then I worked for the genealogy library there for several years as a librarian, assistant librarian. And other than that, just enjoying my kids and grandkids. I've got 7 grandkids.
Really, yeah.
2 great grandkids. And enjoying life. We started traveling the past couple of years and had some marvelous trips. One to Colorado, then one to the West Coast, drove Highway 101 from British Columbia down to California to the Redwoods. And this year we went, flew into Montreal and then came down Highway 1 to Connecticut, or down around Connecticut, Vermont. We visited 4 Canadian provinces and 7 states in 8 days.
Wow.
And really enjoyed it. We got to visit the Kent's 7th great-grandfather's house that was built in 1675 in Connecticut. And we just enjoy life.
Okay, good. Dan, you're up.
I'm up. Well, let me see. I started out after high school. I went to Dodge City to college for about 6 months, and then I went to the Navy for 4 years. And when I got out of there, I went to work for Max Stevenson, welding. And then when I quit Max, I went to work for Wayne Coat for a couple of years. Then I moved to Colorado and worked at the Budweiser Ranch at Aspen for a year. Then I went back to Fowler, got a job at the gas plant north of Mineola, and I worked there for 6 years. And then while we was there, Jeremy came along, and we found out that he needed special schooling and stuff, so we moved to Arizona. And we was down there for like, what, about 14 years, I think, or 15. And then me and Jeremy moved back to Dodge City, and I went to work painting houses with Alice for about 8 years. Then I went to work for my brother-in-law out at Syracuse for 11 years. And then I retired. And I'm here.
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Oh, me?
You're up.
Oh, geez. I
Yeah.
don't like talking about myself, but.
Well, just tell the
And we
truth.
have to, which way are we gonna shoot this? What's your best side?
Over this way. Lighting's better.
Do it with the tree in the back.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Can I get in here, Jane?
We'll sing.
I left you all in 1965 and I went to Wichita State, where I still think I was in a mortuary with Carol. But they
You
don't
know, come to
recall.
think of it, I think we were there together in the mortuary.
Are you just making
But-
that up?
You're
You
starting
said
to-
fringe,
You're
fringe.
starting to convince me. I was at
I
Fringe University.
wanted out of there so bad. But anyway, if that didn't happen, I can live with it. And from there, after a year and a half at Wichita State, which I was studying to be medical technology, I went on to K-State. Goo! And I finished up 4 years in med tech. But I got married, and I could have gone on to KU and did my internship another 7 months, and being young and crazy, got married, and went out to Sublette with Carl, and on the family farm there, where we were married for 15 years, had 3 beautiful children, Sean, who lives on the other side of the ranch, and she, I think, is 46, and Cheyenne, and then Clay. And I know you all know it, we lost Clay in a car wreck, a pickup wreck on the section one evening. That's a hard one. That is really a hard one, you guys. He was farming the farm too. So, and then we had also Shanna, and she now is married and lives up north of Hayes at Osborne, Kansas, Alton, Kansas, and they farm and ranch there. And so Shanna and Sean, we got too many Sharons. Carl always said there was one SH word left, and that was shit. But then he married Sheila. No. Enough of that. Anyway, Bryce is Shanna's husband, and he is a wonderful son-in-law. You couldn't have any better, and he lets us keep the ranch up and all, and has done so much work keeping it like, I think Dad would be proud. And they have 2 boys and now a girl, and we have Cheyenne, and then Clay had Bailey, but I don't get to see her very much because they went on with their lives, but she also is at K-State now. So anyway, after, let's see, we were married 15 years, and then I had to get a job, a big job, and had the farm still and was running the farm in Haskell County. So I went to the Satana Hospital where I became a dietitian, and I fed the people. And after 5 years of that, when the green beans were too hard for the old people and they were too soft for the people that worked there, and I would go over into the hospital side, and here sat all these nurses making $6 or $7 more an hour. I can do that. So I went back to school and got my nursing got my RN at graduated when I was 48, I think 49. Anyway, when I was 50, I was an RN. And I started working at Liberal, got a really good place where the girls taught me my nursing. You can learn it in a book, but actually doing it. So I worked surgery floor, not recovery, but surgery floor at Liberal for 5 years. Then a friend said, get into geriatric nursing. So I did, still running the farm. And I loved the geriatric. It was like working at home with fireplaces, and I like being at home. So anyway, then got to be about 58, and I thought, what am I going to do? Gosh, there's not a tree on that farm where I lived, even though I liked the farm, and it was irrigated, it was good ground. So I decided to sell the farm and move down here because the kids would come down here, but they didn't have time to come up home. So anyway, I sold the farm, and then I turned around and sold my house too, and had to build something with something in it I could run a business for 3 years to save taxes, and so I did so and had a hunting lodge here, Into the Trail Lodge, for 3 years. And we still have Dad's, the Air W hunts, but we don't do this lodge anymore. Sometimes they come over if we're short over there. But anyway, got that far in life, and I don't know how I did, except I'll have to give a plug for the good Lord. There is no way I could have done all that and sold this and sold that and then built the house and got through that. But it is so nice. It is so nice, you guys, to be back. Look at you all smiling. To be back with people that you grew up with, that you love, and you share the good and the bad, you know, and that's what life's all about. And I'm just so happy you all came out here tonight. Thank you. That's mine. Did you get all that? A wrap?
A wrap. Yes, I did.
You got HBO, don't you?
Hey, could we try it one more time?
All right, Diana's up next.
Oh, good.
Tell a story together.
Wonderful.
So you're up, dear. Shoot, I'll just agree with you.
You can take over in a little bit.
Yeah, you go.
I guess after I graduated, I went to Hutchinson Business College there. Worked there for a little bit, and then moved to Wichita. Danny was in Wichita. Then after we got married, we did move back to Fowler for a short time because Danny's dad was sick and he had to do some farming. Our first child was born here. Then we moved back to Wichita and then to Emporia for a few years. Do you want to tell what you were doing first time?
Oh.
Well, yeah, after high school, went to college in Emporia for a little while, bombed out there, went to Wichita, drafting college with my good buddy, Donnie. We learned a lot there too.
Oh, we
We
did.
didn't learn much about drafting.
Oh, I could tell some stories on
Learned
that.
a lot. So, anyway, and then after Diane and I got married, we ended up in Emporia. My brother-in-law, Barbara's husband, had a contractor's business and building houses. So I learned how to build houses for several years, and left him and started a business with a friend, and we built houses there and for about 7 years, I believe it was. And then we decided, well, we need to leave Emporia. And my mother and father had left Fowler, sold the farm, and went to Phoenix. And mother's apron strings were still tied to me and pulled us there. And so we ended up in Phoenix, Arizona in 1977, 78, and with our 3 children, Kim, Michelle, and Rick, we pretty much made a life there building houses or construction and things like that myself, and did that for about 20 years. Then I hurt my back and I had to get out of that, and my church, St. Louis the King Catholic Church, said, "God, Danny, we need you really bad." I said, "That's good." So went and did that for almost 25 years. So did that, retired, I got really involved in the Knights of Columbus, and that's a men's Catholic organization, and got pretty much involved in that. And been doing things for them for a long time. I just got done with what we call Rosary Sunday. It's Rosary Celebration now, and we just had about 5,700 people at our celebration. So I ended up being the chairman there and doing other things. It was just kind of something that's kind of snowballing. I just have a problem saying no. But
He's a professional volunteer, is what I call him.
I've done that for quite a while. Just got done doing a pig roast at our council and had a fun time doing that. Diana's the brains. She tells me what I should do. We work it out pretty good. So our kids, our 2 daughters are in Phoenix, and they got 4 grandkids. So I was going to leave Phoenix and go someplace really cool until the grandkids come along. So now they probably won't be leaving Phoenix until the day. But other than that, yeah, that's kind of what we do. And then talk to Sharon. And guess what? We ended up here tonight. So fill in all the details. You worked at St. Louis.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're talking to me. I thought you was talking to
No,
somebody.
no.
about the only other thing is that what I did typing for court reporters for probably 15 years, which at home while the kids were growing up, which I really liked. But then they kind of went to doing it all themselves, you know, with all this computers and stuff like that. And then so then Danny and I did work at the same church. He started working about 6 months before I did there, so we both worked there for 25 years. He's been retired for 2 years, and I've been retired for a year. And I'm very happy being retired. I don't miss working at all.
Yes.
So hopefully we can come out to Fowler more often, spend more time if I can get him to learn the word no.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
So you'll be able to make the second annual reunion here?
Yeah.
You betcha.
I'll do that in 50
Yeah,
years.
we're gonna do that every year.
No.
We should have told you about that
Every 50
earlier.
years.
You're all here, I want to really thank you for coming. And it's good to hear from you all and find out what you've all been doing. I wish the rest of us could have been here.
I know.
And we can't thank Sharon enough for her hospitality. So
My pleasure.
Sharon, that's what we do. And nobody needs to go home early unless...
They don't.
I brought pajamas.
How much do each of us owe you?
Yeah.
This can't be free.
No.
No, we're making
it's-
the donation to the foundation. The donation to the foundation, that rhymes even, yes.
And
That's
part
what
of
we're
that,
doing.
Sharon doesn't want us,
I won't take it. We just go to the, whatever,
if you-
for the kids.
if you give it to her, she'll turn around and give it to
The foundation.
Janice, so. Anyway,
You guys have a problem over here.
so anyway, let's drink happy, be merry.
And it was like, pass this address and.
You know, I couldn't get sick from it for 3 years. I couldn't do that. Now I can't even get, you didn't take
Wait a
that,
second.
did you?
Yeah, I am. You bet your ass I am.
We can't even do this for a
Wait a second,
meal.
guys, Jamie.
See how much influence I have. I don't know. I'm just
I'm here because
We've gotta do
Sharon begged
I'm
me to
gonna
come.
say
She was afraid
20
nobody
more
would
I
people.
did, I begged
I
her.
mean, that's,
I begged.
Well, and then they owe postage.
Her sister's
Oh, yes, you did.
yeah, for the high.
Oh, yeah,
You
the
don't need to film.
party crasher. Yeah, we need a little word from
accepted
you.
the invitation.
Yes, I did.
You gotta get this.
Yeah.
I mean, we're shaking.
we all grew up together.
Everybody.
We've raised 4 daughters, and they all live within 4 blocks of us.
Oh.
And we have 5 grandchildren, 2 step-grandchildren that are Sarah's husband's kids, and he has 2 grandchildren there. And we have Nick, who's 21, and he's at Fort Bragg in the Army, and he will be going to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and into the electrical engineering program, even though he graduated from KU, and he also was a high jumper at KU for 4 years. And Sarah and I, his mother, went to all his track meets that we could possibly get to. She'd get off at the bank. She works for Lynn, and at 5:30, and we'd head off to whatever state they were in, and we'd go to his track meets. So we enjoyed that. And Lori works for Dean Zortman, and Erica is first kindergarten teacher at Fowler, and Alyssa's director of nursing at the Mineola Nursing Home. And I went to nursing school. I nursed for about 40 years, and I loved it. And that's it.
Cindy, you're up next.
Oh, yeah.
Sit back a little bit. The bartender, give me.
If we have any sons that have a lot of money, that are very young,
Come on, Cindy, say a few words.
I'm the bartender. Had 2 really great parents. Dad has a really nice antique pool table that I'm hoping I'm first in line for now, maybe after this weekend. So. No, just work in Kansas City and on a house and try to fix as much as I can around the house myself and go from there. So.
Excellent, thank you.
And thank you for allowing me to be here.
All right. I'd like for everybody to kind of sign this, put their name and their phone number, their email address. We probably already
I
have.
forgot. Well,
What?
I don't have everything on everyone, so.
Well, she's failed a little bit.
Yeah, I
It
did.
wasn't that big a deal.
I know, and I'll
Can
put
we
my
gather
email.
for a group photo?
A group
Yes.
photo?
Yes, well,
She's gonna.
You'll take the class. All right. I don't